Who's gonna be the stupid idiot who fake checks a bush?
Answer that question. All of them.
What? So that's not mean, right? I get it.
Stupid question, man. It's all of them. Hey guys, Frosty here, and today we're going to talk about having a winning mentality and how to get rid of that losing mentality. This is a very large factor in why low elo players lose the games that they do and struggle so much harder to improve. Many stuck in this mindset may be bronze for years and never able to progress. Now, what are these mindsets? What do they mean? Well, League is all about information and decision making with a dash of microflair. So if anything came between that information and your decision making, like a losing mentality that corrupts the information you're receiving, you may end up making extremely poor decisions. A losing mindset could be as simple as getting pissed off that someone didn't ban Skarner, a current must-ban character that's really strong in the game. And instead of finding some counterplay or abusing the fact that the Skarner in question may not be amazing and rarely gets to play him, many just whine and validate any success that the team has by, oh, it's X character, versus, anything that you guys do losing wise, you'll say, oh, well, it's Skarner, like, who cares, it's not going to be a winning game anyway. So this mentality alone will already put your team behind because you're not processing any information properly. You're completely putting a firewall up, or like a wall in general, so then that information cannot pass through and get to your decision making phase, and this will heavily impact the game. So what are some other mindsets that you could have? Well, and a couple other negative mindsets are certain strategies, like this is stupid, or like this is cheap, blah blah blah. These are also really bad mentalities to have. If someone's using some sort of mechanic that you find cheesy or unfair, generally that person has to be decent at that strategy, or they're using a very two-dimensional strategy. So for example, if you're ever playing a fighting game like Street Fighter and they're playing Ryu and just Hadoking like the whole time, if you don't know how to deal with the projectiles, then you're going to lose the game, and it's incredibly easy for them to win that way because they're abusing something that you don't know how to deal with. In Smash Bros. Project M, I was in this clip, I was playing Kirby against a variety of characters, and I was abusing the fact that my back throw can lead into Kirbicide, which is when Kirby swallows the character and goes to an area in which they can't recover. And so you can do a couple of things, like you can try and learn how to deal with the strategy, or you can, learn, oh, okay, well, this is part of the game, so like these are the mechanics that combat that. Or you can do what a lot of people do, which is get angry and frustrated and say, why don't you play for real, or why don't you try, like this is a joke, blah blah blah, all these like excuses as to, oh well, he won because he was cheap. Yeah, that's true, but at the same time, you're not winning, right? You're not getting any better, so you're not taking this opportunity to learn a specific thing, right? So a lot of these negative mindsets are stopping you from learning, okay, well, I can block these or parry these, or I can stay away from the ledge when I'm facing this character and try and kill from the top, or any specific strategies you can find to combat this one cheese mechanic, right? And then when it's applied into the game and it's not cheesy, like when Skarner's balance, or when, X character is being played, you know how to deal with that character now because you've sat down and you've processed the information, rather than putting up those walls to try and, validate your loss, right? Making excuses is one of the worst mindsets that you can have in all the negative mindsets, which is when you just make up excuses. And usually these go all hand in hand, right? Like, oh, he used cheese tactics, so that's why I lost. Or, yeah, like this character was used, so we lost. Or like, oh, I should have killed him, but he had Ignite, so I lost. That was the only reason why I lost. These are all things that you can actually combat, and if you were actually good, you would never have to say. Like, if you're a professional player, you should never have to say something like, oh, well, he had Ignite, so that's why I died. It's like, they might say, oh god, like he had ignite, like I didn't even notice, like oh god, I'm bad, and make a joke. But they will almost never just straight up say, oh wow, way to have ignite, like GG, like that isn't a joke. So how do you combat these things? What's a winning mentality? How do you get a winning mentality? Well, positive mindsets and winning mindsets are all about processing information and kind of like how you perceive the game. So if you have a neutral or positive mentality going into the game and during the game, then you're going to actually be able to process the information that comes to you and think logically about it and to make good decisions from it. So if I'm doing that strategy with Kirby, people might think, okay, well he's using a back throw into all of the setups, so I should bait out his grab near the ledge, because if he whiffs a grab, then I can abuse that into a combo. That's like a really simple, setup that you can do. And if you're not necessarily good at the game, you might not be able to do that at all. But a lot of people that are good at this game will be able to easily bait out that grab and just completely punish me or kill me for it. And obviously if they're good at the game, I wouldn't be able to get that set up anyway. But that's how they got to that point, right? They realized, okay, well, what is he doing? He's doing this a lot. Let's find a way to combat that and adapt, right? Like adaptation is a winning mentality. It's finding out a problem that's causing you to lose and trying to figure out a way to overcome that barrier. That's going to happen in every single ranked game. Like, you guys have to realize, like, you're going to be losing at some point in a lot of games. And that doesn't mean you lost. That just means that you're finding that barrier. And if you adapt and you find a way to get past that barrier, you not only have a chance of winning the game now, but you're also improving as a player. And that's literally what you want. So the more barriers you come across and get past, the better of a player you're becoming anyway. So like, never be frustrated by losing. Just be frustrated if you're not learning anything from it, or you feel like you're not adapting from it. And so that's just the mindset that you can have. Another positive mindset is to be productive, to analyze information, and to think really logically about things. And so if you're sitting there and you're like thinking, okay, well, this guy is spamming Hadouken, so if I jump and time everything right, then I should be able to jump in between his Hadoukens and wait until the actual second that he's in the animation for one and punish him for it, right? Like, okay, that's really complicated. How about I block a couple or perfect parry or whatever the mechanic is, and force him to approach me in a different way, or any other counters that you can find towards it. Honestly, if you Google search how to deal with a certain strategy in a video game, generally you can probably find it. Like, I'm gonna search right now how to deal with Hadouken. Right? Yeah, how to deal with Hadouken spam. There's literally YouTube there. There's game FAQs, right? So you can, like, if you're not able to figure out on your own, sitting down with someone playing Street Fighter, and you're not able to figure out, okay, how am I supposed to beat such a cheesy tactic that's so easy to do? Well, there's going to be information on the internet for you, and there's no shortage of internet information for any competitive game, really. So hopefully you guys try and look into, okay, what's a productive, positive mindset that I can have during a game to try and actively improve myself, versus trying to find excuses as, maybe my teammate is really bad and he went 0-10 and the enemy team just ridiculously stomped us. Well, what could have you done differently? Is there any way that you could have caught out the fed person that got all the kills on your friend? Maybe if you had some more ward control, or you could scale off of getting a Baron or a Dragon, a couple of Dragons, stuff like that. And you know what? It's going to be a really uphill battle. There are going to be games where it's a ridiculously hard game that shouldn't have been hard, but one of your team members or yourself just completely drops the ball that game. And that happens. And if you make excuses and say, oh, well, if this guy didn't suck, then I wouldn't have lost, then you're not really improving. Like, if you understand that this is a frequent thing, that this is going to happen, and you learn how to deal with that as well and how to try and carry the game even though there's people that are feeding, then you're going to win a lot more games, because there are going to be more of those games where you're performing better and might actually be able to carry. The percentage is a little bit higher. And if the percentage is a little bit higher, then you're winning a little bit more, right? So that's basically what you want to do. You want to look at everything and try and figure out, how do I minimize my losses? And the wins obviously are the opposite, right? So if you minimize your losses, you're winning more anyway. You shouldn't be focusing on why you're not winning as much. You should be focusing on all the losses and trying to figure out why that's happening. So hopefully you guys can try and have a more productive mindset and try and avoid any excuses or any like mentalities that are really negative about the game. Like, if it's part of the game, it's part of the game. That's something that a lot of Smash players say in Melee, and it's just a fact. Like, it doesn't matter if there's a thing called wobbling where ice climbers get a grab on you and it immediately leads into a kill. It's part of the game, and you just have to learn strategies to deal with it. And it might take a long time, but eventually people learn strategies against a lot of cheesy tactics. And that's usually what separates the high-level players from the low-level players, is the high-level players can't be cheesed as easily. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video and learn something from it and try and apply it, because this is one of the most important things to improving your ranked experience and you as a player. So, you know, work on that, and soon I'll have a new video for you guys, and we'll start improving in the ranks together. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and discuss maybe different ways of applying that mindset. Or if you guys are having some trouble, just don't be shy, comment, and I can help you guys out with that. Have a good day.